Hey everyone, it's Triple Mango Threat or Ashley, and today we're talking about a card that has a little bit of a dispute over it, so let's jump right into it. I hate to say it, but I was wrong about Temple of the False God. It appears to be actually good, oddly enough. This is a tweet from Magical Hacker, and I'll have a link to this thread in the description down below if you'd like to read into it, but I'll be picking some tweets that I actually like from it and I want to comment about. So we have a tweet from the Kristen Emily. If my commander costs 5 or more, I'm running it. Better to be lucky than good. 18 months ago, I hated the card. Formats changed, and I completely agree with this. Also, because I didn't even consider having this for a commander with 5+ cost. So anyways, I retweeted this, and then I had commenters saying, well, this is a really good card in a mono deck, and I thought about that as well. If we get to 3+ colors, this may not be a great option, but if it's 1 or 2, that's not bad. Anyways, there's a lot of hate over it because it's not as good as Ancient Tomb, and when you look at the price difference, Temple of the False God is 17 cents. If you want a commander legal Ancient Tomb, it's going to be around $54. So this is a $53 difference. It does almost the same thing, except it deals 2 damage to you instead of Temple of the False God. You have to have 5 or more lands. And what's neat about this is that this can be your 5th land that you play, and so then it's activated, or it's active at the time. Anyways, going back to the Twitter thread. Bobby Christine says, hot take on Temple. There are good reasons to run it. There are good reasons to not run it. Absolutely correct. This isn't going to fit into every deck. This isn't a must include. This isn't a Sol Ring, an Arcane Signet, etc. When it finds the right home, it will be excellent. Next, we're talking about Ringtailed 79. I think it gets a bad rap because commander players do not play enough lands in general. Correct. I see content creators regularly posting decks that have 32 lands plus 8 mana rocks and calling it good. Yeah, Temple probably not fitting in there, but also that config is quite suspect. So typically how I run my decks now is that there are 50 mana sources, so there's going to be 36 to 38 lands, and whatever that difference is to 50, that's how many mana rocks or ramp spells I'm going to have to make up that 50 the mana sources. So I completely understand what they're saying here, because why would you run it if you're never going to meet that 5 land requirement? And a lot of people are comparing it to a dead card in your hand, which a dead card in your hand could be the Commander Lotus. So are you going to play that later in the game when you already have your commander on the battlefield? Probably not. That's just a dead card in your hand. You don't have anything to use it for. Anyways, I digress. Moving on to Infinite Fairies, their tweet says, Ancient Tomb or Crystal Vein have never let me down when they show up early. Cannot say the same when I've had to sit on an early draw Temple. Correct. I completely agree with this because if it's in my opening hand, you really don't know what to do. You want to mulligan again because it's not going to be great your opening hand, but sometimes you keep it if you have enough ramp. It just depends. Nothing is finite in Magic. Next is Camarilla Shadow. It's really good in sub decks, but not in others. Again, absolutely correct. This isn't going to fit every deck, and that's okay. This next tweet is from Life of Larbear. I like to include Temple in my decks if my commander is 5+ mana value. We saw this earlier in the video. And my deck wants colorless mana or lands that tap for 1 or more. Even when I do so, I don't count it as one of my land slots for the deck, but rather a spell slot for the 37-63 ratio, but actually 38-62. I think that is a really great idea. If you're not depending on, this is going to get me mana like you would a basic land, maybe count it as a spell slot. That's a great idea. The next tweet is from Whiskey Biz MTG. I only put it in green decks now, as long as my ramp is for lands, not artifacts. I really like this. I think that's a great idea, and green is ultimately going to have the most ramp than any other color when it comes to rampant growth, explosive vegetation, etc. So maybe this is like a 80% include for mono green decks that have ramp for their lands. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So my final thoughts are Temple of the False God doesn't fit in every deck, but also you can't just exclude it from every one of your decks. Maybe it fits in. Thank you to the patrons who help support this show and continue to support it. You can also become a patron to have an upcoming deck tech, which will be this Saturday. Watch out for that one. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.